Welcome to another Colors of Prog. I'm Louis Paul, and this is the Podbean YouTube and Facebook channel where I discuss progressive rock bands and recordings from around the world. This is Season 3, Episode 26. Yes, and this is the third year I've been doing this, and there's quite a few episodes on Facebook. Not as many on Podbean because I joined Podbean a little later on. But if anybody wanted to see earlier episodes, other bands, artists, albums I've discussed from all around the world and all about progressive rock. So today I'm going to discuss Benoit David and the music he did with Mystery and Yes. So, Mystery is a French-Canadian band and was formed in 1986. Heading the band is guitarist, keyboardist, songwriter, and producer Michel St. Pierre. Mystery's self-titled and apparently self-released debut came out in 1992. By 1996, and their second album, Theater of the Mind, singer Gary Savoy, pronounced Gary Savoy, who sounded an awful lot like Steve Perry from Journey, so he had a great voice. And it brought the band some attention in prog circles. While musically, Mystery resembled AOR, album-oriented rock, friendly prog by association bands like Kansas, Styx, and occasionally when the singer hit higher notes, Rush, the Geddy Lee connection. Destiny, released in 1998, was the last album with Savoy as singer, and their last record for nearly 10 years. Now, Benoit David, it's spelled David, but it's pronounced with an E on the end as if. Was born in 1966 in Montreal, Quebec. He loved singing and was particularly fond of the voice of Dennis DeYoung of Styx when he got older. Benoit made a name for himself singing in bar bands, and in 1994 he was invited to join Gaia, a Montreal-based tribute band, who would soon after change her name to Close to the Edge, still being a Yes tribute band. It's been reported that Benoit joined Mystery in 2000, but Beneath the Veil of Winter's Face did not come out until 2007, and that would be this album. Quite good. It's 63 minutes, so it's over an hour of great music. By then, Mystery had a complete lineup change as well, but Michel St. Pierre still being the main guy. As a singer, Benoit's voice, you could compare it to John Anderson at times. So it gave the band a bit of a different sound. And the music, quite successful, although still under the radar for many people, brought attention to the songwriting. Very good songwriting. So again, we still had the Kansas, Styx, and now Saga similarities. We now have songs that resemble Yes, the music of Yes, and especially its singer, John Anderson. Yeah, we're going to jump around a bit. Yes was doing its thing, some lineup changes here and there, and they took a 5-year break to recharge their batteries. And after their 5-year break, they reformed to begin plans for a 40th anniversary tour. but an asthma attack led to John Anderson being diagnosed with a respiratory failure. Now, the band, yes, not wanting to wait and cancel a tour for John to get well, sent feelers out for a replacement. Chris Squire recruited Benoit David from YouTube videos he'd seen of the band Close to the Edge, so he may have been unaware of the then recently released Mystery album. The Benoit David toured as Yes's singer from November 2008 to December 2010. Having not recorded and released a new record since Magnification in 2001, plans were struck to record a new studio album, and in October of 2010, during a brief tour break, they started working with Trevor Horn, who had, if you remember, replaced John Anderson in 1980 for the Drama album. Horn and his ex-Buggles partner, Jeff Downes, keyboard player, had worked on a version of a song, We Can Fly From Here. Now, it originally appeared on the Buggles' second album, Adventures in Modern Recording, released in 1981. And if anyone forgot who the Buggles were, they infamously had the first MTV video killed the radio star, and Trevor and Jeff joined Yes for the Drama album and tour. As the session grew on, Horn would come up with a whole suite based on We Can Fly From Here, and recorded guide vocals for Benoit to re-record his vocals on. It sounds very odd. The band is working on stuff, and they're bringing Trevor Horn back, and Benoit's been singing with them on tour, so, the guy knows his stuff now, his chops are done, and yet the producer comes in and says, I've written songs that he reworked with the other members of Yes, I'm assuming, like Steve Howe, Chris Squire. He says, I want you to sing my vocals over with your voice. But somehow, Benoit found time to record a second album with Mystery, One Among the Living. I know I'm going to be jumping back and forth on this one. And that would be this, One Among the Mystery. Oh, One Among the Living. Sorry. It's a Mystery album, One Among the Living. I would hate to re-record this whole thing. And this was from 2010. The album also featured some guests like Daryl Stumer, touring guitarist in Genesis, and Oliver Wakeman, son of Rick, and himself a Yes alumni who saw a lot of his musical work on the Yes studio album Fly From Here missing. His tracks were replaced by Jeff Downes, although years later those songs would resurface. The most surprising thing about One Among the Living is Benoit David's ability to sound like other singers. In Chameleon Man, with a K, he comes close to Robert Plant, believe it or not. But it makes sense as his Zeppelin-style rocker. I never heard the Marillion influences before in Mystery's music until the 23-minute suite Through Different Eyes, which sounds like something akin to, H. Postfish Marillion. And Gates of Delirium. That's a real mashup there, isn't it? As sung by Steve Hogarth. Now, that's a change. So that's one Among the Living. I misspoke earlier. And the second album that Benoit David did with Mystery. Now we switch back to Yes. So live Fly From Here was well received. It was a bit of a different thing for Yes to do. Benoit sounds great on this. In a recent published interview, a rare interview in Rolling Stone, Benoit David, who has been fairly quiet, and I'll get to that in a minute, on the scene, has spoken about how he was pushed really hard by Chris Squire during the vocal recording tracks and on some of the live dates. Although his voice does resemble John Anderson at times, it's a much different key, and it's a higher key. And to do that night after night, and I'm sure that tour had a lot of dates internationally, so it might have been tough on a guy who never toured in a band that big before, and big shows. Yes, we're still playing major arenas. Now back to Yes. There's a great live document from that tour I just mentioned, In the Present, live from Lyon. And this is from the tour where Benoit David jumped into Yes as John Anderson's replacement. And this is pretty cool. This is one of the, if you could find it, they've been on a lot of different labels. Yes, no longer, this was on Frontiers Records. Since they were on no longer on major labels, Yes, we're with different smaller labels, and we're just glad to get the music to listen to. This is a good set. Siberian Quattro, I've Seen All Good People, Tempest Fugit, Onward, Astral Traveler, Yours Is No Disgrace, and You and I, Owner of a Lonely Heart, South Side of the Sky, Machine Messiah, Heart of the Sunrise, Roundabout, and Starship Trooper, of course. Also, this edition that I managed to find has a bonus DVD of the band. It's a documentary, but with live footage. So it's quite good. And Benoit sounds terrific on it. Also, I wanted to say, without a doubt, to my ears, it is one of the best live albums in Yes official live recording history. Yes, the set list could have been a little different or not. They've been playing these same songs for now 50 plus years, 60 almost, and set lists change. Currently, they've done they're on a tour, Classic Tales of Yes, where they did a really unusual set list, and it didn't feature many of the usual, let's say, chestnuts. But I'm going to review that show a little far down the road once I put all my thoughts together. But anyway, this sounds good. Not only is the band sound good and on point, the bass, the keyboards, Steve Howe's guitar, they were caught on a good night. The singing is good. And the production is just really, really terrific. So I wanted to make a note of that. Now, interesting, Oliver Wakeman handled keyboards on this tour. And for the first time in a long while, Yes changed up the set list, as I mentioned. And it's funny to hear as Steve Howe, who's known to say, as much as he disliked the song, Owner of a Lonely Heart did give Yes a shot in the arm in terms of popularity, because that song hit it big. Again, Steve Howe's guitar sounds dynamic, and it's refreshing to hear him play outside of his comfort zone at times. He usually plays a little trebly. He's known, that's his guitar sound style. And you could hear him just playing not so much that style. So just things are going on there. Both Tempest Fugit and Machine Messiah also come from that drama album that I wanted to point out, which is from 1980. Interesting, Fly From Here was recorded after this tour, so there's nothing from there on here. Again, Benoit David, he was up to the task for being lead singer on this tour. He does a great job harmonizing with Chris Squire, and you could clearly and loudly hear in the mix something you don't often get in Yes Live albums. The clarity of the backing vocals from Chris Squire and really good bass response. As I said before, Off the Road, Yes went into the studio with Trevor Horn and Jeff Downes being dragged back in. And as I mentioned, Oliver Wakeman's contributions, he kind of left. He just, things weren't working well there. And Jeff wound up doing a lot of the stuff Oliver did. So we circle back to Fly From Here. It was released in 2011. And as I said, it wound up being a surprisingly good symphonic prog album. And oddly, now listen to this. After 2014's universally disliked Heaven and Earth album from Yes, which featured then new singer John Davidson, Yes released Fly From Here Return Trip. And that was released in 2018. They hadn't done anything since Heaven and Earth. So in 2018, Trevor Horn replaced Benoit David's vocals with his own, then contemporary singing, and remixed the album Fly From Here. He also rearranged some of the songs. How the other members of Yes agreed to this, I don't understand. How did Steve Howe agree to this? But then again, he gets to add a new instrumental and re-record all the original parts from the original version of Fly From Here. There's been things on the internet. Which do you like more, Fly From Here or Fly From Here Return Trip? They're both good. I not going to pick sides, but I would say the Fly From Here, the original, where Benoit David's vocals are, it's an extraordinary album. The Fly From Here Return Trip, which I also have, but it's a show about Benoit. I don't really want to get into that so much, and I probably did discuss that in the past. It's a good album. Now, it's been documented that vocal exhaustion from the tour is one of the keys to Benoit's exit from Yes. But as I said in a recent 2023 interview from Rolling Stone, and just published archival interviews with journalist John Kirkman, revealed Chris Squire is a often harsh taskmaster, pushing David's vocal range beyond its limits, live at least. As well, I assume he was no fan of having to replicate guide vocals for Fly From Here. Now, John Davidson of the neo-prog band Glass Hammer was chosen as Benoit's replacement. But before being out for decades, Benoit David rejoined Mystery for The World Is a Game. Another terrific album. Now, Nick DiVirgilio, who has played with seemingly everyone involved in prog in recent years, Spock's Beard, Big Big Train, Steve Hackett, Neil Morse, etc., plays drums. And while it's not as immediately satisfying as the previous Mystery album, it has its rewards. Dear Someone is one of those great bittersweet songs. Reminds me of, again, Latter Day Marillion. And it's quite good, even heartbreaking to listen to. So give this album a chance. By the summer of 2012, Benoit David was done with music. And again, as I mentioned in recent interviews, he's been conducting business with his vinyl refinishing business in Canada. He's hinted at some new music coming and an interest in singing again. So let's hope so. He's a great singer. And hey, Steve Perry from Journey disappeared for a long time too before resurfacing. So let's call this show an appreciation for the vocal stylings of Benoit David. Again, I highly recommend. Now, Mystery has a new singer. They go through lots of singers. Beneath the Veil of Winter's Face. This is a terrific album. Highly recommend it. The second one he did with Mystery, One Among the Living. The World is a Game. And the Fly From Here, the Yes album that Benoit sang on. And the tour document, In the Present, Live from Lyon. Great singer. I hope that whatever it was that made him leave music, again, he's hinted at his return. So it'd be nice to see him, to hear him again. And I hope he does return. That's our show today. Thank you for watching.